You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. The studio, Ray, he's going to be talking all about the Swampy Wildlife Rescue. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
I was hoping you could give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself before we move on to the Swampy Wildlife Rescue.
Yeah, my first recollection regarding getting involved with animals, I think I was about 4 or 5 years old. And it sort of tumbled from there, really. I was always getting into scrapes and things and getting involved with animals and getting pulled back from cliff ledges and lakes and things because I wanted to get a closer look at things, what's going on. I was always getting into trouble. I was putting live things in my pocket and dead things in my pocket. If I found a dead mouse on the way to school, I put it in my pocket. I don't know why. I think I just thought maybe I could bring it back to life while it was warm in my pocket. The infant school we was at in Sidcup, it was surrounded by privet bushes and they had very large caterpillars, and I very often used to pick them up and put them in my pocket because they didn't stay there. And it's sort of gone on from there to the time I was 11 and 14. People were bringing me things. I don't know how the word got around where we lived when we moved onto the island, lived in Elmer Road. People used to bring me small baby birds and things. We wasn't always successful in them days. I was still a big learning curve then at the time, and just did your best, you know. And once you started getting successful, then I was more inclined to get excited about it and got more and more involved. By the time I left school, I got a job in the Regent's Park Zoo. My uncle got me in there, and I was right in my element by that time, and moved around different sections in the zoo. And unfortunately, when not unfortunately that I got married, but once I got married, unfortunately we had 2 disabled sons, and then as things progressed, it got pretty obvious my wife couldn't really carry on, the caring duties on her own, so I had to pack up my job. But then I found that I really needed to be doing something with animals, and this seemed to be an ideal opportunity to take off with the wildlife rescue.
And we're talking a little bit about yourself, and we just got to the point where you decided to start your own wildlife rescue organisation, so I was hoping you could tell the listeners about that.
Yeah, it was 30 plus years ago. I can't get on the dot on that one, but it was a good 30 plus years ago. I decided that I need to do something with animals, and it seemed to be the ideal thing to do. It was word of mouth really more than anything else. Of course, now as things have got on, we've got internet, and it does make life a little bit helpful towards us. We've now got the website on the Facebook, and we do receive some donations through that. Very nice people have given me some donations. Really enjoy it. It's with a little bit of spare time that we have between things of doing it at home with the boys. It's lovely to get involved with them, and especially when the little babies coming in and you see them progressing as you're rearing them. It's really something else.
I bet you've seen some animals and some sort of stories over those 30 years.
Oh yes, we've had our ups and downs. I mean, it's heartbreaking when some things, no matter how hard you try, you just can't get anywhere, and you really have to bite your lip and say, well, enough's enough, and that animal then has to be put to sleep. Obviously, it is sad, but then you do get your ups as well. Anybody who's doing this will tell you, to see an animal that you've been looking after for weeks at a time, it's time for it to go, and you can take it out and you can see it fly, or whatever else if it's a mammal, you can see it trot off. It's lovely to see it. It's got a second chance. That's what it's all about, really. That's what we're involved in.
And talking about highways, I understand that you've also appeared on television as well regarding...
Yeah, I was on the Wildlife SOS programme. People may be aware of that if they've watched it at all. We rescued a local fox. Had to go out in a boat to rescue it. It was swimming half a mile out at sea. A yacht had actually discovered it. We were taken out on the pilot boat and to pick it up.
That's pretty amazing. You wouldn't think a fox would get out that far, would you?
Yeah. We I roughly worked it out. It must have ended up in the water somewhere around about the Rushenden area. We think it had got into a scrape with maybe hunting for wildfowl, seagulls and everything. The tide was going out at the time, and we think he was probably looking for some food that way and got into the water, maybe thinking it could go a different area, and then got mixed up with the lands in front and behind it, with the different landings being Dead Man's Island, and I think it just got totally confused, then got out of its depth, the tide's coming in, then the currents as well. I think that's what happened. It just ended up getting itself into deeper trouble. So that one was very lucky, and I didn't have any room whatsoever at home at the time. We didn't really have that much room for foxes or anything that large then, and I decided I'd have to take it to Wildlife Aid in Surrey, and Simon Cowan was extremely useful, and on the way he said, we're going to film the episode of you rescuing it. So that's how that ended up. That's how that happened.
I was wondering next if you could tell us what kind of animals do you rescue?
It's all British wildlife. Anything to do with British wildlife, anything whatsoever. We've even had some insects brought to us, mostly I think just because people weren't unsure what the particular animal was. That's all just for advice, but we do get quite a few people phone us regarding that sort of thing as well, which we're happy to, answer questions on. If they send me pictures on my phone, I can tell them what it is, and caterpillars mostly. We've got at the moment 53 hedgehogs. I'm glad to say most of them are all in hibernation. Some are now just coming out of hibernation, so it's all hands to the wheel at the moment. We had 7 fox cubs down here last year. I should point out to anybody who might be concerned, we don't have anything to do with the releasing of them, so they needn't think we're overpopulating the island with foxes. It's they're sent somewhere else for soft releases. The soft release centre takes care of that, but we do all the hand rearing and hard work. Badger cubs, we get quite an array. A lot of birds as well.
So where are you based, and I suppose what kind of setup or facilities do you have?
Well, we're in Sheerness, 9 Diamond Court, Sheerness. That's where I live, and that's where it's all done from there. That's a home and centre, a whole lot of work all into one. We've got an arrangement of different enclosures, all manufactured by myself mostly, and designed by myself. We have to go sort of universal with the enclosures, so there might be birds one minute, mammals the next. It just depends what we got that's coming up next, ready to come out of the hospital wing out into an outside pen. That's where they're taken care of there.
Do you rehome all the animals you rescue?
Well, obviously with wildlife, that is all totally destined to be released. back into the wild. That's the whole point of that exercise. So, in a sense, I suppose, it's re-establishing them, rehabilitating back into the wild. That's what that's all about. Occasionally, we do help to rescue people's pets. For instance, birds of prey. That often happens. Maybe someone's guinea pig, rabbit may have escaped, and we've taken it in on the hope that if we advertise it enough using the local paper, we can find the owner. But if for whatever reason it never gets back to it, so we usually give about sort of 3-week period, and we can't afford to keep anything much longer than that, simply because of all the wildlife that's coming in. We haven't got the room. But we will hang on to them as long as possible before rehoming them. Yes, they would be rehomed. Pets would be rehomed.
So do you run the organisation all on your own, or do you have people helping you with it?
Just about, yes. I am on my own. I do have a very nice lady who helps me, Pat, in Minster. She's very useful. She's got an arrangement of different hutches at home. She takes in all my hedgehogs which have gone through medication and no longer need me for anything, and she takes them into the hutches before releasing. That helps with making a lot of room for me where I live. So she's very useful.
Ray, how are you funded?
Well, as I say, we do get donations come through our website. People have been very kind. We've been collecting a lot of bric-a-brac and stuff at the moment. Pat, as I mentioned earlier, in Minster, she's very much involved with charities, different charities. She has a stall for herself as well, very useful. And we have a stall on the Love Sheppey event as well, and so all bric-a-brac and stuff is all, useful to raise money to help us carry on. Medications, and, fuel and food.
And is that the sort of ways, if you are looking for people to get involved or help, that's the sort of ways they can do that, is it?
Yes, by all means, yes. I mean, they can contact me on 01795 585 405. And as I say, we're at 9 Diamond Court, Sheerness, so they can always get in touch with me there if they've got anything that they think might be useful to us. We're always on the lookout for things like that people no longer want. Christmas presents, maybe they unwanted Christmas presents, things like that. It's always useful for us. Yeah.
Before you go, was there anything else you'd like to cover?
Yeah, I mean, people do find anything or they're concerned about an animal. It's always best to phone us first for advice before just turning up on the doorstep. There's always occasions where I might be out on a rescue myself. The wife is mostly in, but there are occasions in the afternoon when she has to go out down the town. It would be horrible for somebody to just turn up with an animal and then they're stuck with it because no one can answer the door. So please just phone us first on 01795 585 405, where we can give you advice first before we go down that road.
Well, Rodlert, thank you very much this evening for coming along and telling us all about what you do and how you rescue animals.
Okay, thank you.
You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show